So, hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Salamangreat Raging Phoenix, Worldsea Dragon Zealantis, and Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames. So, individually, if we don't combine these cards, they're not that oppressive, there's not that much of a problem. If we just combine two of them, even, still fine, not that big of a deal, right? So Promethean Princess is just a bit strong because it's technically able to be interaction in a different location. So if you drop a Dark Ruler no more, or like some other board breakers, Promethean Princess is still going to be activatable, and it's just going to be like likely one point of interaction. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. So if we drop Dark Ruler no more, for example, against Snake Eyes, then their potential Apollosa or their IP can either be like not summoned or negated, depending on the exact board state. And then your opponent likely only has Promethean Princess left as interaction alongside their hand traps. So not that much going on, and if Flamberge were to get popped, it will give your opponent some follow-up for the next turn, but no plays for the current turn. If they have the field spell, they can also potentially summon IP then, but yeah, just in general, you can probably still bluff like an evenly into Dark Ruler no more. Good chance we might be able to manage that. Or even if you drop evenly match, you'll likely still have to deal with Promethean Princess at some point. So yeah, Promethean Princess by itself, kind of strong and nice card just to kind of support like fire decks in general. But the fact that this doesn't even require a single fire monster, like if it required at least one fire monster to make a Promethean Princess, maybe that would make sense. But okay, no, you don't need a single fire monster. So you're telling me if I want to use, uh, like for example, that this is just stupid, but well, we'll use the right leg of the Forbidden One, the left leg of the Forbidden One, and also the head. That doesn't quite work. So let's instead link off the right leg of the Forbidden One and the left leg to then special summon. And also at some point, I think we can special summon Exodia the Forbidden One, probably. If we start with unexpected die, I guess we can summon this Link Spider, summon this Link Spider, and then normal summon Exodia the Forbidden One, and then make Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames because it requires effect monsters. Oh no, effect monsters. When will I ever be able to make those? Hmm, intriguing. Needing effect monsters to make Promethean Princess? I sure hope I have some of those in my 40 card deck. Oh no, I cannot make Promethean Princess with my vanillas. Whatever will I do? Of varying different types. Oh wait, you can. Just make a couple of copies of Link Spider and then we can probably Link Climb as well if we wanted to. Does this need to summon to the zone? For now? Yes. So a little bit difficult to just do this with Link Spider, I guess, but point is that this has like no restriction on its summon, and it says you cannot special summon monsters except for fire monsters, but that only applies while Promethean Princess is on the field. So that restriction is not like that big of a restriction either, because you can just link up Promethean Princess. So just absolutely dumb if we just consider those aspects of Promethean Princess. So all things considered, Promethean Princess is just okay. It's fine. It's not like that broken of a card. Just if we're looking at just Promethean Princess, it allows you to special summon a guy from the graveyard, and it'll probably be summoning itself like uh, on turns potentially 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it can do that, I guess, potentially. And you can just get rid of Promethean Princess with a graveyard effect and then just be done with this for forever. It's just gone and you won't have to deal with it probably because this is kind of like a one of. Some people might run this as a two of, but I mean, just in general, it's just, It has some restrictions that are just annoying. Like, if you already have so little restrictions, why bother throwing this restriction here? Just let me make access code with Promethean Princess, honestly. Like, who cares? But, alright. The thing about Promethean Princess specifically is, well, one of the things is that this allows for some link climbing, which is kind of annoying. It's kind of like free material when you make Promethean Princess, which is annoying, but still fine. Now, when we combine Promethean Princess with Worldsea Dragon Zealantis, this is already a little bit annoying now. So, the annoying thing about just these two, if we just look at just these two, Promethean Princess now means that we can just make the Zealantis, uh, whilst only essentially making a link 3. You only need the materials for a link 3 or potentially a link 2. If we are able to make Hita, then we can go Hita, Promethean Princess. So it's essentially a link 2, able to climb us into a link 4, which is just annoying. And this would technically be doable with just uh, an Ash Blossom Joy Spring plus any monster. Just for example, because I believe Hita only cares if you have one fire monster to link summon Hita, I believe. I don't think you need an effect monster, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, doesn't need to be an effect monster. But we can do that. And then we can summon Promethean Princess. And then we can summon Worldsea Dragon Zealantis. But you know, if we for some reason want to do this with dark monsters, in the same kind of way, let's assume our opponent has a dark monster instead. Maybe we could normal summon, I don't know, let's just say a card that doesn't do anything for us, Snake Eye Oak, and then Link off for Link Karibo. And then if we have another monster on the field, we can then make Dahark. And then Dahark climb into Promethean Princess. Promethean Princess summons back Oak, and then we can Link climb into any 4, and then we can go into Zealantis on top of that 4, which is kind of dumb. So the Zealantis summon condition is actually kind of neat, so that's something new. But I mean, with what it does, it's just kind of frustrating, but alright. So notably, Zealantis has uh, some really powerful abilities. So during your main phase, you can banish all monsters on the field, then special summon as many monsters as possible that were banished by this effect to their owner's fields, face up or in face down defense position. During the battle phase, quick effect, you can destroy cards on the field up to the number of co-link monsters on the field. So if we just look at just Snake Eye, while considering just these two cards, pretty stupid, honestly. So Apollosa is probably the target in general you will end up making. Aside from that, it's like situationally maybe an SP. But in general, if we make the Apollosa, we're going to link off the Flamberge and we're going to summon some fire monsters back. And we can get rid of one of those guys for like Link Rebo, and our opponent probably can't do too much against us here. And our Apollosa, even if it is at 0 attack, it's probably going to be on the board. If our opponent controls a monster, we can use the fact of Zealantis to trigger Promethean Princess, because Promethean Princess just requires a monster to be summoned to our opponent's field. It does not care who does it, as we can see here. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while this card is in the graveyard, it doesn't say if your opponent here, so you can do it as well. So we can use the Atlantis for this. And the Atlantis has a billion different kind of degenerate usages. So yeah, that's just the thing. It has one kind of cool situational use though. So one good thing about Zealantis, I guess, is that this is one of the few ways you can actually put monsters face down in defense position. So if you're playing like a flip deck with Zealantis, this effect's actually pretty nice. Aside from that, I can't think of like much of anything else that Zealantis does that doesn't like feel a bit frustrating. So this effect seems pretty unassuming, right? During your main phase, you banish all monsters on the field, then special summon as many monsters as possible that were banished by this effect to their owner's fields face up or in face down defense position. So if we can summon all of our opponent's cards in face down defense position, well, as many as possible, but let's assume they're not playing a link deck, so we can in fact summon face down defense position. This does a lot of things. So first off, if our opponent, for example, is controlling a Mirror Jade, we can strip Mirror Jade's status essentially of being fusion summoned, and that applies to like every summoning type. So like link summoned, we can strip our opponent's monsters of being synchro summoned properly, kind of. Well, I mean, they'll still be synchro summoned properly, but they will no longer be considered as synchro summoned because Zealantis will banish those monsters and then special summon them. And also because of the effect here, um, because those monsters were banished and special summoned in the same chain, if they have some kind of trigger when they leave the field, that trigger just doesn't happen. So Mirror Jade's effect will not happen uh, if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect. That effect will not trigger from the Zealantis. Activating here, and then we can also use this effect to do removal, and this is just non-targeting removal. So this removal is just so strong for what I feel like is no reason. So in the battle phase, if this card is co-linked, you can destroy a number of cards on the field up to the number of co-linked monsters on the field. So that effect is pretty strong. So when we combine these with Promethean Princess, of course, we probably have some Snake Eye fire card that still exists. So we have a pop target, and then Zealantis can just be summoned over a 0 attack Appa that you have no use for, and then you also get 2 pops off of just this. And also, you probably triggered a bunch of Snake Eye searches anyway, so you have that as well. So we can potentially add, if we can add back Poplar, we can use original Sinful Spoils to search, so we definitely have a fire to pop for Promethean Princess. And then when we summon back the Promethean Princess, on the next turn we'll be able to then summon another fire back. So like, for example, Flamberge, and then that just goes a bit crazy. But we'll just leave it at that, right? So when we then look at the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix, this card by itself also pretty fine, especially in Salamangreat. It's just like whatever, right? If this card is link summon using Salamangreat Raging Phoenix as material, you can add 1 Salamangreat card from your deck to your hand. If a face-up fire monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, you can target one of those monsters, special summon this card, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack. So the effect of Salamangreat Raging Phoenix now. The thing about this is this one triggers from Promethean Princess. So if we destroy just whatever fire monster we happen to have while we are summoning Promethean Princess, this will allow us to special summon the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. And then this will get special summoned, so on our board we will have Promethean Princess, Zealantis, and Raging Phoenix. And it's pretty goofy. But real quick, let's cover a few more things that Zealantis has before we get into what the 3 of these guys can do together. So Zealantis can also get past targeting protection because non-targeting banish here, and then we have non-targeting destruction here, and then we have on top of this we have let's see. So we have also the ability to summon this on top of any Link 4, and as we just established with Promethean Princess, if we have like Hida or Dahark, we could climb from Promethean Princess pretty easily to Zealantis with Link 2, so essentially just 2 monsters committed to get into the Worldsea Dragon Zealantis. So if we normal summon like Snake Eye Ash, this gets us all the way into Worldsea Dragon Zealantis essentially, and that is not that problematic. So pretty easy to do. And also, I guess worth mentioning is this special summons back your monsters as well, so we can use this to unnegate our monsters. So If we were to specifically, let's say, Soryuja, special summon Rescue Ferret summon to Soryuja zones, link off um, the Soryuja with Worldsea Dragon Zealantis, Worldsea Dragon Zealantis, special summon all those monsters again. So this will also be able to trigger special summon effects that are not hard once per turn. And it'll also be able to, I guess, assuming you special summon negated monsters, you can special summon them with Zealantis so they are not negated anymore. So that's a thing you can do, I guess. So it's like able to be used as like kind of an FTK card. And worth mentioning, I guess, is Promethean Princess. Can bring back Electromite, which has no hard ones per turn, and then Electromite can prop Promethean Princess. So if we want to add some cards to our hand for like a pendulum combo, what we can do is we can summon Electromite, add Astrograph, pop a card, probably a pendulum scale, special summon Astrograph, link off Astrograph with Electromite to make Promethean Princess, to then special summon back the Electromite to pop the Astrograph again to add the same scale. But like again, unless you have something else you want to pop, I guess we could do that and add that as a scale as well. But yeah, that's also pretty goofy, pretty dumb, I would argue. And then honestly, if we want, we can still make Zealantis on top of this to trigger like Electromite again. Yeah, like this is possible. So yeah, I mean it's not like as bad because you have to probably in this case not use the Promethean Princess as material, but you technically could if we made a link for and then went into Zealantis. But yeah, you have to get the material from somewhere, I guess. But when we look at all three of these combined, now it becomes actually a bit stupid. Yeah, no good way to put this. So the effect of Raging Phoenix, it's basically just an extra body to do damage with because Promethean Princess and we'll see Dragon Zealantis would not be lethal, but if we just take all their attack points together, we have a 2.7k, 2.5k, and 2.8k. So let's do the math on this real quick. 2,800 plus 2,700 plus 2,500. That is actually 8,000 exact. Right? What? Is it? 2,700, 2,500, 2,800. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it is. Wow, isn't that great? So that is exact lethal. And this can kill, assuming you control 3 monsters, that's not enough to just block these guys. And we're assuming we're popping, with the Promethean Princess here, a 0 attack monster. So, yeah, that's kind of not going to happen. You probably have something with attack, and that'll boost the Raging Phoenix a bit, but essentially what we're doing here is we're going to be able to use potentially any Link 2, assuming we're also playing a fire deck, so we have like some main deck fire monsters here. So anything that has like some main deck fire monsters can just go Promethean Princess, climb into the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. On top of Raging Phoenix, we summon Zealantis, and if we have any fire monster here, so it will be like 3 guys, essentially. So if we have 3 monsters, we should be able to do this, minimum 3, right? And then we can go remove 3 guys, so that'll be Promethean Princess, we'll pop 1 monster, and then when we co-link Zealantis and Promethean Princess, that will be pop 2 additional cards, and this will also trigger the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix to be a special summon. And then, in this case though, if we are on like, if we were going second, we would need 3 actually, but we probably already have all the materials if we are going first, so there's also that to consider. But just in general, you're doing more or less like a Link 2 into Zealantis, and then you trigger Raging Phoenix super easily. And this is just a bunch of factors combined, but it makes these 3 pretty stupid together. So let me tell you guys potentially how many things we can actually kind of clear here. So this uh, gains you the attack equal to that monster's attack. So it's not like half the attack or anything. It is the full attack. So if we take Flamberge, Flamberge has 3k attack, so we can just use, for example, Flamberge. If we pop Flamberge, Flamberge can trigger, and then we can technically also special summon back Flamberge as well for like more removal. But we're just going to just focus on the attack stat this time around. So let's assume Promethean pops Flamberge and then one of your opponent's monsters, and we summon back the Raging Phoenix. This is going to be a 5.8k attack monster, which is just very high. So this can out a lot of different Towers monsters. So for example, with Arrival, if we were to make the Arrival at Ignister, you would need to make this with 6 materials, you know, in order to not like instantly just die to Raging Phoenix, like even with towers. So this already outs a lot of just towers by battle because it can get to such high attack points just randomly, but okay. And then we have Worldsea Dragon Zealantis, which can get rid of things that cannot be targeted, and it has 2 different forms of removal technically. As Vanishing, it has Destruction, and it's non-targeting. So pretty disgusting if we look at it that way. And then we have the Promethean Princess as well. The Promethean Princess doesn't need to actually destroy for some reason to special summon. When it says destroy them, it only needs to destroy one thing, which is really confusing. So just for example, if Promethean Princess targets, let's say Snake Eye Ash, and you tribute that for Link Reboot effect in the graveyard, and then your opponent, their monster is still on the field and gets popped by Promethean Princess, it still special summons, despite it saying destroy them and not if you destroy any of them, which is yeah, okay. Anyways, it just summons itself, and then you'll have an extra body if you use Link Reboot in this situation, right? So that's a bit annoying, but okay. Now with all 3 of these combined, all these factors, that's very easy link climb into Promethean Princess. Or in case we made Raging Phoenix already turn 1, we can just link this off with Zealantis, and if we have 1 fire monster, then we can trigger the effect of Promethean Princess to special summon back. And then that gets you follow-up and threatens lethal all at the same time. And yeah, that's Giga frustrated because our opponent here is able to use our card by triggering the Promethean Princess, which I don't think you should be able to do off of the Zealantis. And then this, I guess also worth mentioning, for some reason, can target just any monster, actually. It doesn't have to be the special summon monster, which is also just frustrating about Promethean Princess. So if I were to, let's say, we'll go with this. So let's say I normal summon Taya, no effect, and then I special summon Longwan. My opponent can then pop the Taya, because this can just target any monster your opponent controls. And it doesn't care if it's face up for face down either, which is also annoying. Because if it cared, then it wouldn't work that free with Zealantis, because Zealantis summoning things in face down defense position is essentially like a negate as well. So being face down in defense, you won't be able to activate your effect until flip back face up, which is likely not going to happen because we have this effect to pop, this effect to pop, and then these guys potentially being able to destroy whatever that monster is by battle as well. So it threatens whatever monster Zealantis books, just like in several different ways. And also worth mentioning, I suppose, is if a monster was not special summoned properly, Zealantis just completely just banishes that, and that's gone. And I guess I forgot one thing Zealantis can do. If you are locked into like some form of summoning, so let's just say, for example, we are locked into only being able to summon zombies. Let's just assume very bravely here that our opponent is not playing zombies, the obvious best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Uh, if we banish the entire field here, it's not coming back because nothing's going to be a zombie. So yeah, that's a fact of Zealantis that's actually kind of neat. I don't think there's a lot to complain about that one, honestly. But yeah, everything else is pretty frustrating, considering it's just that this doesn't even genuinely feel like a Link 3. It feels more like a Link 2 because you can access it with Hida or Dahark, and then you can access the Raging Phoenix off of just the Promethean Princess, so it has the same kind of deal, feeling like a Link 2 instead of a Link 4 like it should be, and then Worldsea Dragon Zealantis setting up all this nonsense. So yeah, that's also pretty frustrating in this regard. And you'll just have to deal with all of this just pretty much for the rest of the duel, and there's not much you can do about this. So if we, for example, remove Promethean Princess, I guess that'll help. With like a called by, you can at least stop this. But yeah, you kind of need, I guess, all three pieces to do this combo. But yeah, it's just so much advantage and so many effects being resolved with like very low commitment. So, for example, if we were to just go with, I don't know, let's say Kishtira, sure. When we special summon the unicorn, sure, we'll have extenders and stuff, right? But when your opponent makes either like a Rise Heart or Shangri Era, it's just going to only be one effect, right? So when we commit to like an extra deck summon of one of our extra deck monsters, it's only going to be like able to do so much. So even if we boldly do as much as possible, what the most we can do here is we can go into a Rise Heart, which requires a major commitment. So we would need to hard make the Rise Heart. So it'll be requiring like probably Fenrir on field and Rise Heart or one other Kishtira. So it's like 1, 2, 3 cards being committed, and then that allows you to just make the Rise Heart, and the macro effect is not likely going to be relevant. So it's going to just be banish one card face down. Meanwhile, this is essentially, well, not exactly, but pretty much just banish all of your opponent's monsters face down, right? And then this is pop a monster, and then these three are three different guys that can destroy your guys by battle, and then also pop two. And then with the Riser, it's literally just a 3k guy that can banish once. And then on top of this, we can then make Zeus for board wipe. And then if we really want, we can make Typhon, but we already board wipe, so it's like, whatever. But also we committed more monsters than what we have here with the Zealantis line. But there's also no follow-up once we make Zeus, and we're actually also locking ourselves out of summoning Kishtira monsters for the most part, unless you open like a birth, probably. So yeah, you're pretty much having a bad time when you're just at the point where you just have a 3k Zeus, and the Zeus here in this case might have like one more activation, but you're really just sitting on the Zeus, and you're actually somewhat floodgating yourself out of being able to summon your other monsters, so not having the best of times, we'll just put it that way. And I guess, you know, if by some miracle it matters, we can also make technically a Typhon on top of like the Zeus, potentially. But that probably won't matter, honestly, because we already activated Zeus, right? But if we break this down, this requires us to use 3 monsters to make the Rise Heart. And then, I mean, the only way we get the 2 activation Zeus is if we don't use the Rise Heart effect to banish. and then just attack into something and then attach with a Rise Heart, I believe. Wait. No, wait. Even if we don't do that, we still have enough materials, right? Because we make a Rise Heart with 3 guys. Yeah, never mind. But, okay. So, that doesn't get us to 3 activations, but if we activate a Rise Heart anyways, uh, we don't have enough materials to make that good of a Zeus. It's just a 1 activation Zeus instead of 2, I think, right? So, we're left with not really that many options and no follow-up. If we do this, we can still technically afterwards link off the Promethean Princess and the Raging Phoenix again, assuming we don't have lethal somehow, which I mean, not that likely. But then next turn, you'll have to deal with once again the Promethean Princess, the Raging Phoenix, and Zealantis' battle phase destruction effect. So, yeah, that's great, isn't it? And definitely for sure fun. I believe it. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.